Good morning, folks. Kirk and Jason here with Kirk, Giordano, Plastering. Today, what we want to do is address a possibly number one concern with everybody who owns a stucco house. I'm going to give you the worst case scenario. When we get to the other side, you'll see something that makes this look like a hairline crack. A hairline crack is like the hair on your head. That's a hairline crack. This is a structural crack. Why did it occur? Well, we got 100 years. And these are called expansion joints. And what you do is, when you have a wall like this and then you have a house, you actually build the wall close to the house, 1 inch, leave a gap, or if you're going to connect them, put an expansion joint in there. I got several videos that we've done in the past, some about 8-9 years ago, that show how we do this. I'll put those in the description in case you guys are building a house and you want your wall connected to the house without a see-through thing. Use expansions, otherwise this will happen. But this can happen anyway, guys. It's kind of normal. It's a 100-year-old house. It's got parapets, and the foundations are kind of different. The house is built on one, that's built on another. So we have constriction going on. We have expanding. When it rains, it expands, lifts everything. When drier conditions occur, and they will, everything settles. So this is just a settling crack. I'll show you a caulking. When we get to the other side, I'll show you several different ways to do it because it's much worse. Anyhow, I'm going to use a Mor-Flexx caulking for this. And I'll show you how to do it, guys, because all caulkings are designed to fill the holes, but they don't flex as much as like that sealing, expanding foam. So this is the limit. This is the absolute limit of depth versus width that caulking can handle. And in fact, I may get some shrinkage. What happens if you caulk something and it shrinks? You come back and caulk it again. Big deal. Okay, so with this, now the prep work I've done already was I've cleaned everything with the trowel. And I used a wire brush then. And with the wire brush, I was trying to get all of the dirt, dust, grime, and crap out of those cracks, because it's been cracked like this probably for 10 years. Now, when we come to an area like this, where the actual paint has come off, we just add some more right there. I'll show you why we do that too. I'll get back to filling this big old hole, and it's about 1 inch deep. And if anybody understands caulking like painters do, they'll know that if you go too thick, it will shrink up. It'll be sucked right in, and then you'll have to come back and put another layer on it. And by the way, while we're at that, always caulk early morning. If you get it early morning, that's when the crack is at its widest. When the sun hits it, the wall expands, and it's not as large a crack. So you might have to do it twice. I learned that the hard way many years ago. What I'm going to do, guys, is just use this whole tube right here to prove a point of how important it is to get it. We want it all the way to the back where the paper is. I can see the paper. So that just means, if I could see the paper, that just means this is cosmetics, guys. It looks horrible, but how bad is it if I could see the paper? Well, the paper's still intact, which means the wall is not really compromised if you cannot see paper and in fact you see wood. What does that mean? That means that the rainwater coming down is going to go in there, saturate that wood. What happens when wood gets wet? Expands. So, now here's what I'm doing. This part here, guys, it's just like plastering. Squeeze it in. I could use my finger, and I did use my finger here. But if you really want to get it tight, and this will avoid the dreaded comeback, meaning, how many times have I done this and had to come back? A couple times, because I didn't realize that the holes were like 2 inches deep. So what I'm trying to do is not come back. So I'm squeezing that caulking in there, not with my finger, but with a trowel, because I can get more pressure this way. And yeah, I'm using a caulking. Why not use cement, guys? Well, cement, obviously this house is lifting and dropping. So when it rains, it lifts, and then when drier conditions occur, and they will, it settles. So if I use a cement, when it lifts and then drops, which it will again, the cement will just pop right off. In how long? I'd say about, my experience has been about a year or two. But with this caulking that's flexible, you got a much, well, the longevity is a lot better, guys, a lot better, because now this, when it lifts, this will contract and constrict and do all that stuff that the house is doing. So you don't have to worry about putting cement in it, which only take a minute. Cement is actually twice as fast as this, but again, it doesn't flex, guys. If it doesn't flex and it's rigid, don't do it. It may seem easier, and guys at some stores may say, hey, just put a little cement in there and you're good. Not true. See right here, I can see that joint. I'll put a little bit more right in there and feather that joint in. I don't have my water bucket, but I could still do that. Okay, what we want to do is just feather the joint in so you don't see the caulking. It's like you can see a lot of things going on here, guys, but just because some guys made a few boo-boos, we don't want to do that. Anyway, we're going to go to the other side now. I'm going to show you some severe stuff and how many ways to handle it. There's just endless, countless ways to handle it. Now what we have here is we had severe cracking, well, structural problems, because this is a 15-ton chimney. The house and the foundation were all done at once, but with 15 tons over the first 50 years, no problems. But as the decades go by, what happens is the very tops of all stucco houses can get cracks because of window and door vibration. Open windows and you shut them. Water goes in there. In cold areas where we get snow, the rainwater will go in there and freeze. And when it freezes, it expands and it pops the stucco off. That's an entrance for the rainwater to come in and do its thing. It takes 10, 20 years, but this kind of stuff will happen. We don't get freezing temperatures here, but the same thing happens. And by the way, guys, with regular maintenance, if you paint every 10 or 12 years with a good quality paint, you won't have this happen. I know, because I take my own house and I do the maintenance. Anyway, what Jay did was Jason came up and you could stick your hand in the chimney there. So you can't, you say, how are you going to waterproof that with caulking? You can't, because it's too thick. Can you put the bead, a lot of people use this backer rod, but no, under circumstances here you can't. There's nothing there. Can you put membranes? Can you put flashing? No, you can't, because you have to remove the chimney in order to put something like that. So what Jay did was he filled it up with this expanding foam, and yes, it's waterproof. And what he did also is he took this Mor-Flexx, nasty stuff here, guys, but that's the strongest caulking known to me. 3 drops on 2 bricks and they're porous. You can't pull them apart a week later. That's so strong. So what he did was he put that caulking in there yesterday because we wanted to set. And today, what we're going to do here, because that's too thick, this Mor-Flexx caulking. And granted, guys, how many caulkings are there? Let's try about 50. So you want something that's paintable, something that flexes. And this Mor-Flexx, and no, I'm not a Mor-Flexx rep, it just is good stuff. It flexes. I haven't had any problems with it, except if you go way too thick. So the fact that you could still see the paper here, and the fact that this chimney is settling because of all the weight, it's typical, guys. Typical. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing I did on the other side, because this will shrink a little bit, but I don't want it to shrink where we got to come back tomorrow or the next day to add more. I'll tell you a little story too while I'm doing this. About 35 years ago, I worked for Danny Smith Plastering. Danny Smith Plastering was the biggest plastering company probably in the U.S. He had about 15 crews, all gun crews. That means 15 guys for every crew. And about 35 years ago, Danny Smith Plastering did the theater in Blackhawk. I don't know the name of that theater, AMC or something like that. And so I was part of that crew. I was about 20 many years ago. So I was part of that crew. And we stuccoed that whole big monster building in a day because we used a plaster pump. And there was, of course, 15 of us working for Danny Smith Plastering at that time. Now, about 6 years ago, I got a call from a guy, a licensed general contractor. He said, "Hey, Kirk, I got a theater here in Blackhawk. I think there's only one." And he said, "We got the weirdest thing going on." And I said, "What's that?" And so he said, "Well, if you look at the theater, it looks fine. However, the very bottom where the ground is, we have what looks like icicles," those were his words, "sticking out." And I was thinking, oh, I know what that was right off the top. But it explains what's happening here. So what they had happen over there at the theater, and it took 35 years for that to happen, was that as the seasons went by, you have to keep in mind a tractor flattened that land out in order to build the theater. And the land settled. It rained and it expanded, settled, and did all kinds of stuff. So what they ended up having, and we ended up fixing it like 6 years ago, they had the stucco walls here. They went down. Then they had protrusions like this, 2 feet off the ground. And they said, "Well, how the heck did that happen?" But I knew how it happened because we did the stucco work when I was an apprentice working for Danny Smith. They've gunned it, bzzz, shot it on, and we darbied it all up. And so that stucco fell on the ground. And as the decades passed, 30 years, now the ground settled. It rained, and when the drier conditions occurred, it settled and settled. But it left the stucco, and it was out this far in some places, all the way around the building. And this is like 200 feet this way, 200 feet that way. So all we did was jackhammer that stuff off and redo it. So that's settling, guys. That just shows you what's happening here. Is it unique? No, it's just settling. So I'm looking for my trowel and float, and we're going to go through the same process here. I'm going to skip the same process because I showed it to you on the other side. It's the exact same thing. What I'm going to do is go up top. I'll spare you the 5 minutes of me doing this, and Jason is going to mix me up some cement. Now, as a rule, guys, I tell people we don't want to put cement in cracks because it doesn't shift. However, what we got up there is that expanding foam, so the expanding foam does move. So what we're going to do is we put the weldcrete on it, and we're going to mix some plaster right now. Quick set is set in 5 minutes. And we're just going to plaster that because it is too large for caulking. No caulking will work there. I'm just giving you guys some ideas of worst case scenario and why. How are you going to fix something if you don't know why it's that way in the first place? Anyhow, next time you see me, I'll be plastering that top. All right, guys, last tip. Why not use caulking like this? This is a good product. It has no sand. And I've had people email me and they say, "Kirk, well, I use the tile sand, the tile grout, but that has got super fine sand, silica. This, you got to have at least, it's thicker sand for it, guys." So, and this stuff here, again, I'm no rep for Mor-Flexx, but it comes in 2 colors. It comes in tan and it comes in gray. We were using tan, but you couldn't see what we were doing. It blended in too well. So we switched to the gray so at least you guys could see what the heck we're doing. And if you're going to do this, guys, and you put, say, caulking like that, you can see what they did. They went like this and left it. Now, they just had a sponge float. You get your kitchen sink float or sponge and just hit it. And at least it'll bring the sand where it'll match and you don't see the trowel marks like this. They had a lot of stuff going on here, but it's a 100-year-old house. It's locked into the foundation. It's locked into the concrete. So something's going to give, guys, especially where you have the rain and the seasons. And lastly, if somebody says, "Well, I want a thicker grain of sand," you guys could just do this also. Well, you could take I use stucco there, and I put lime in it so that it will flex a little bit more. I put a lot more lime. You could just use the same stucco, put it on here, and float it in if you want it even heavier too, guys. So there's a tip for the day as far as how and why to do caulking on your house. And all of this stuff, it looks really bad, but it's not. It's not, guys. It's normal wear and tear. Remember, painted every 10 to 12 years, and you won't even have these issues. Kind of like our bodies. Got to take care of it, use it or lose it. Anyway, guys, my name is Kirk. Jason on the camera. We thank you for watching, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Hi folks, Jason here, and I'm here to tell you something you probably already know, that like most content creators on YouTube, my dad and I are members of the Amazon Affiliates program. What does that mean? That means that we can show and link you to some of the most commonly used tools in the plastering trade on Amazon, like our hawks and trowels, scoops, floats, and some of the other things, our battery-operated tools for breakout and cutting, etc. Now, if you buy those tools from those links, we earn a small percentage of that. That allows us to keep making these videos and keep putting out quality content for you folks to enjoy.
Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below, and also if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.